So hi guys, welcome to, I guess this our last call of, no, because 30th. So we do have one more call left at the end of the month. So second to the last call right before Thanksgiving. I really appreciate you guys getting on. Like I said, I know it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, so you guys taking out your, the time in your night to hang out with me and learn stuff really means a lot. So I appreciate that. As always, I have a few housekeeping items that I want to talk about really quick, and then I'll get right into the call. So one, there's 6 days left in the month. So if you are not at Success Club, totally fine. There is so much time. Sorry, my dog might start barking because my boyfriend's coming home. But there's so much time left in the month. If you're a brand new coach, obviously, it's a little bit harder to hit Success Club at the very end of the month because, you're building your contact list and you're doing all of that stuff. But you can still work to build your contact list and do all of that stuff that you need to do to set you up for success for the following month. Hold on, let me close my door. Ned, enough. Sorry, Ned's being ridiculous. But there's so much time. I think after Thanksgiving, maybe I know it'll be Black Friday, but I might create another Success Club push group like I always do, like a Facebook message thread. So if you want to hop in on that, let me know. I'll post about it in the team page. For those of you who don't know or didn't see, the 3-day refresh is still on sale. So if it's something that you haven't tried, I highly suggest that you give it a try. I think as coaches, we get it for like $45, which is really nothing. Like, you guys, it's a way to get a quick win. A lot of you guys are like, I want to post a before and after, but I haven't finished my program yet. Doing a 3-day refresh and taking before and afters and posting your journey and posting your meals, posting on Snapchat or Instagram is such a great way to get exposure to something that is super quick. It's a 3-day refresh. And who wouldn't want to do it after Thanksgiving? I know I'm holding a group, and some of the other coaches on the team are doing a group as well. So that's something that you can, buy now and then, get it. You might not be able to start exactly right after Thanksgiving. We'll be starting on Monday, but you can totally do it later on. So I think it's on sale till, I know this is a big date difference, but you can check in your back office. It's either to the 2nd of December or the 12th of December. I'm not sure which one, but it's still on sale for at least the rest of the month. The Black Friday sale, if you haven't seen, if you go to, I think I posted somewhere on the team page the link, but you can just search, if you want to find it, just go to teambeachbody.com, log in, and then go to the top right-hand corner, you'll see shop. Click shop, and then it's going to bring you to the main shopping page. And on the left-hand side, you'll see holiday sale and holiday sale apparel and accessories. And there'll be a ton of stuff in there. There's really a lot of awesome stuff. Like, you can get, I know I already mentioned this, but I think it's absolutely crazy. It may already be like out of stock because it's first come, first serve, but they have ankle weights, wrist weights, and a jump rope for like $12. You can't even get like a pair of ankle weights at Target for that cheap. So highly suggest you grab that. There's a lot of awesome programs in there. There's a Sanity Asylum, like a bunch of awesome stuff. And the cool thing about it is that even if maybe you don't want to do the program, I highly suggest that you do, but you can always grab it as a giveaway. And my suggestion, if you do grab a program as a giveaway, I personally only give away a program if it's to somebody signing up as a coach, because that's a little bit bigger of a commitment than someone signing up for a challenge group. Someone can join a challenge group and then never talk to you again. Now, coaches can do that too. Believe me, I've had it happen. But if you're going to give away a program, something that's that like big versus just like 2 samples of Shakeology, I highly suggest you doing it to only people who are going to join your team as a coach. And what else? So this is something that I'm going to try to post on Friday, but as you guys know, there's Black Friday coming up, then there's Small Business Saturday. Hello, that's us. And then I don't know if Sunday's anything, probably not. And then there's Cyber Monday. So I suggest that you guys start kind of brainstorming ideas that you can do. What I think I'm going to do is any of my sales I make from Friday to the beginning of Friday to the end of Monday, any of my sales that I make commission-wise, I'm going to donate 15 or 20% of my sales of my commission to some charity. I don't know what charity I want to pick, but I think that that's a really cool way. One, it's the season of giving. And 2, people like getting in on that. You know what I mean? Like, they see that, like, if they were already interested in possibly signing up and maybe they didn't even message you, but they've been watching you, doing something like that may be that extra push to get them to join. And it's a 2-way street. There's not a downside to doing something like that. I mean, you're making technically less money, but you're giving it away to a charity. So, and we're going to be talking about giving. So I think that that's the more you give, the more you receive. So, and not that you're doing it for receiving, but anyway. So yeah, so you can do Small Business Saturday. You could do Cyber Monday, but I suggest posting some kind of like giveaway, or like, I don't know, you could do like a PayPal, like sign up today and get $10 back on PayPal. I've done that before. Or Venmo. You can now send money on Facebook, and I was super against it, but my boyfriend finally got me to do it. And Facebook, actually, when you transfer money, like when you do it on PayPal, it takes like 2 to 3 days. When you do it on Venmo, it only takes 1 day. But when you do it on Facebook, it does it immediately. The money goes literally right into the person's account. So you could literally pay them the $10, and they could use that $10 to sign up. So I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, so let's get into the call. Like I said, I'm going to try to make this really quick. You guys know I talk pretty fast, so I don't think it'll be a problem. But so really quick, those of you who can, I know some of you guys are on the phone, or you could just raise your hand or type in the chat box. How many of you guys have read or started reading The Go-Giver? How many of you? Yeah. It's okay if you haven't, so not a big deal. I know Alexandra, you're a brand new coach, so it's totally fine, don't worry about it. But I highly suggest that you grab it. I think it's a great book for whether you've been a coach for 10 years or you've been a coach for 2 days. It is such an amazing book. And the way I explain it, some of it is going to seem so like, duh, that makes sense. But when you read it, there's so many like amazing nuggets of information in the book that you get, when it goes into more detail. Cause I can only talk about it so much. So what the Go-Giver book is, if for those of you who maybe have read the book Go for No, it's basically written like a fable, or is that a word? Yes, fable. So I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. I do that all the time where I pronounce a word and I think it's wrong. But it's like a fictional story about this guy named Joe, and he's like a go-getter. He, really successful in his business. He, works really hard, and he has to like close this deal at a certain point so he can, make his boss really happy. And he ends up, long story short, meeting with this guy named Pindar, who basically is known to other people as, I can't remember the word, but he's basically like this god of knowing how to make businesses successful, but nobody really knows how he does it. And basically Joe spends 5 days with him, and each day he learns a law of how to be successful. It's the 5 laws of stratospheric success. So what those 5 laws of stratospheric success are: the law of value, the law of compensation, the law of influence, the law of authenticity, and the law of receptivity. So what those are, and I'm going to read over them quickly, and then as I because all I'm basically doing with this call is giving you each law, talking about it briefly, and then how you can apply it to your business. So the law of value, there's no reason for me to read over them. I'll just read over them as I go through them. So first is the law of value. So what the law of value says is that and again, I'm going to include this PDF within the team page. You can write it down if you can, but if you're like listening in the car, don't worry about it. I don't want you to crash and try to write this down. But what the law of value says is that your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So again, your true worth is determined by how much you give in value than what you take in payment. So most people think that that's like going to hurt their business. They're like, how can I give people more than I'm going to take? Wouldn't that just lead me to make no money at all? But that's not really the case. What is the quote that I wrote down? So value is the relative worth of something to someone. So, it's basically how, like, if a person's gonna, buy a pair of shoes, if that pair of shoes means a lot to them, that's obviously gonna have a lot of value. So, sorry, I'm like trying to read my handwriting. Sometimes my handwriting is so awful. So it's basically saying, what is it about this product or this service? We obviously have products. We obviously have services, holding challenge groups and stuff like that. So what is it about this product or service that a person is willing to exchange money, give you money for, and then be super excited about it? Like, they're not even going to think twice. They're like, oh my God, give me this. You guys know that when you see like something that you've been really wanting, and then like it's on sale, you're like, oh my God, I have to have it. I don't even care. I'll go broke right now. I need to have it. So trying to apply this, and again, I highly suggest you reading the book, because me kind of talking about it in brief is not going to give you the best, overall idea of it. It's really good for you to read this book. But so to give you a Beachbody example, so if you were holding to give more value than you take in payment would be something like holding a free group for like self-love or clean eating or like a water challenge or maybe not weighing yourself or just a personal development book challenge where you put in the work. Obviously, if you've ran a group before, you know that you have to spend the time, creating files and creating the group and finding the people and doing all of that stuff. And so you're putting in a lot of value into this group, but you're not asking for any payment from these people, but you're giving them value. And what this in turn does is it gives them value and it shows them, just like, I was talking about somebody buying a pair of shoes, they're going to see you and your service of, wow, this person just gave me this really kick-ass clean eating group. I got all these awesome recipes, and I didn't even have to pay for it. Like, this is really awesome. And in your eye and in their eyes, that kind of puts you in a place of like, wow, this person can give me value, which can lead to obviously a lot better things. So there's tons of different kind of examples. And another example would be when you're getting to know someone, even before they do anything, because this is something that when I'm talking to new coaches, I'm constantly saying, because I ask a lot of you guys to send me your conversations, and anybody who I have doing that, I can tell you it's benefiting them. And I'm not saying like I'm the one making them better, but in the sense of a lot of you guys, I think, are scared to maybe send me your conversations, but I can't tell you how much it can help you if you do that. But my point is that when you're getting to know someone, going above and beyond, and when someone says, hey, I'm interested in joining your challenge group, instead of saying 21 Day Fix is on sale and Shakeology is $130, but you can get a challenge pack for $140, instead of saying all of that, first, like before you even send any of that, just simply saying, before I give you all those details, tell me a little bit more about you. What do you struggle with? What do you like to do when you work out? What do you not like to do when you work out? And going above and beyond and getting to know them. And then, like, when people are sharing information with me, I don't just say, okay, great, here's the prices. Like, if they tell me about something specific that they went through, or they tell me that they went on vacation and whatever, I don't know. If they're giving me a lot of detail about their life, I ask more questions about them and about their life to get to know them even more before I go ahead and send them, the price. Eventually I do, obviously, because that's important. But to get to know them, and again, going above and beyond and being that person that wasn't just trying to sell them something, that, again, in their eyes, leaves you as a person with a ton of value. So the second law is the law of compensation. The law of compensation states your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So this goes hand in hand with the last law. The first law is about giving value. The law of compensation goes hand in hand, because to give value to just one or two or three people isn't enough. That's why it's the law of compensation, because it's a direct reflection. The amount of people that you help and how well you serve them is a direct reflection of what your income will be. So if you give value to a ton of people and you're constantly reaching out to people, that's eventually going to turn into a decent compensation. So again, and the more people you're reaching out to, that's why I'm constantly telling you guys that you need to be building a contact list every single week. You can't let, the whole month go by and you haven't built any contact list at all, because that's leaving you with no one to serve, no one to give value to. But the more you spend time to make that list and you reach out to people and you try to help people and you do it well. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect or you have to be this amazing coach, but showing up and doing things like, going through the training that we have, looking around your back office, doing things like that is going to help you serve people better. And even though it takes a little bit of extra time, I can promise you, because that's what I was doing in the beginning of my business. You guys joined now when we have tons of training. When I joined, there was no Coach Basics. There was no My Challenge Tracker app. There was none of this stuff. We had to learn everything on our own. And even coaches before me had to do it even more on their own. So you guys are really, really lucky to have all of the things you have. So take advantage of that stuff so you can serve a ton of people. So an example for this law would be simply, the want and the need of money. Obviously we're in this because we want to help people, but we all want to make money, and that's totally fine. Never feel bad about that. But sometimes when I get messages from you guys, you are so focused on the money, or I got to get these Success Club points, or I got to get this person to buy this challenge pack from me. And if you flip it around and you're looking at, okay, I want to serve a ton of people and I just want to help them be successful. I want to help them get results, because then I know the Success Club points will come after that. I know that the money will come after that. And if you focus on the giving to them without worrying about the money, and I know it's hard because you're like, I want to be able to have this extra income, or I want to be able to have this be my full-time job. How can I not focus on the money? But I promise you guys, it's hard to work on, but that's why we work on personal development. That's why I'm going to read this book like a few times a year, because it's that good. But the more you focus on the giving and the how many people you're serving and the serving and how well you do it and the giving the value, all of the money and all of that stuff will eventually fall into your lap. But you can't just get that money without giving value and serving other people well. So that's really important. So something that Bob Burg is one of the authors of it, something that he talked about in a video I was watching on YouTube. He said that another thing about this is that when you give value to a ton of people, they end up, they like you, they trust you, they have confidence in you, and they become basically like he uses this word in the book, your army of walking ambassadors. So when, I'm at the point where I've worked really hard to build my brand on Instagram and on Snapchat. And now I've gotten to the point where I have, people will tag their friends on my Instagram page and say, have you seen this girl's page? Like, she's so inspiring. She's so awesome. Those people are basically like my walking army of ambassadors, and they're sending people my way. And it wasn't just like I woke up one day and this was happening. I've worked really, really hard, showed up every single day. I wasn't perfect, but I was consistent. And now that's the benefit of it, because I've worked to serve tons of people and work to do it well, and not just be another person, posting the same stuff on Instagram. I've tried to, and it wasn't perfect in the beginning. I feel like only I've been coaching for 3.5 years, and I feel like only over the past 1.5, 2 years have I really honed in on my brand, and I'm still getting better at it every single day. So I really suggest that you guys work to do that, because that's when you get, and you still have to work on reaching out to people. It doesn't mean like once you serve people well that everybody's just going to start emailing you like 100 emails a day. There's some weeks where I don't get a single email, and then there's other days where I get like 15 emails in a day. It's like the weirdest thing. Those two, so I'll go into the next law, but those two first laws kind of go, like I said, they go hand in hand, and they equal your income. So significant value plus high reach equals a decent compensation. So you have to remember that those two go hand in hand. So the third law is the law of influence, and this is so important, guys. The law of influence states your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. So again, your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. So all the top earners and all the people who are in sales or anything like that, all the people that are super successful always do this. They're always focusing on other people's interests first. Because again, like I kind of already talked about, when you put other people's interests above yours, and obviously it's important to take care of yourself. I don't mean it in that sense. And then it doesn't mean let people walk all over you. That's not what this means. But if you focus on putting other people's interests first, everything else really falls into place. And it's hard to get that mindset. But like I said, the more you work on personal development, you'll get there. So when you do this is when you build trust with people. This is when people, and I hate to say start to like you, because you all are great people, but the more you do it, like when people follow you on Instagram, they follow you, but they're watching you, they don't necessarily like you yet. They're interested in you. It's kind of like they're on Tinder. They're waiting to swipe left or swipe right, and you want them to swipe right. So doing things like putting their interest first. And so if, for example, I have another example, but for example, on like Instagram, spending the time to, let's say you were going to post about blueberries, and instead of just posting about the blueberries that you ate, maybe you could go online and search 5 benefits of blueberries and then post that in your page. Again, that's giving value. And that's helping, your influence, because again, people are going to look at it as, oh, this person's really helping me. Like, even if it seems so simple, I know that's a super simple example, but doing things like that, it helps build trust in you with people. I don't know if that makes sense. So doing things like things you don't want to do. So when you rush a conversation just to get them to sign up, and a lot of times I know new coaches, they don't rush because they don't care about people. They rush because as soon as they get that first 1 or 2 people that like are interested in joining them, they're like, oh my God, I got to get them signed up. It's the coolest thing ever. I got to get my, my Success Club points. There's nothing wrong with that. I love that you guys get excited, but remember to pump the brakes, be patient, and get to know them first. Because a lot of times when you're hearing no a lot, it's because, yes, somebody's always going to be interested. That always happens. But when you get to the price point and somebody signing up, and again, it's not always about the price. Sometimes it's about getting over the fear. Once you get to that point, even if they're not going to sit there and be like, well, this person didn't really get to know me, I'm going to say no. It's more of a subconscious thing. And you guys know I'm all hippy dippy stuff like that, but I highly believe in that. It's the energy that you put out. When you take that extra time, it's like when you, for moms or even, women, you clean your house. Nobody notices when the house is clean, but they sure as hell notice when it's dirty. So it's the same thing when it goes into this. Somebody might not notice when, Somebody might not notice subconsciously, when you help them out, but they might notice kind of when you don't. Again, subconsciously, they're not going to say that, but I from doing this for 3.5 years, I really think that people can tell. And even maybe when they look back at the conversations, they might feel, they're going to feel it more when you get to know them and you spend that extra time. So as another example is doing things like making really, really awesome challenge groups and then checking in with people throughout the group. I so many times see coaches who get someone to join a challenge pack and then they're like, boom, MIA, gone, see you later. When someone buys a challenge pack with me, you guys know I use Google Streak, so I set my reminders. When they buy a challenge pack for me, the first thing I do is go into Google Streak and I set a reminder to check in with them a week before the Shakeology ships so I know I won't forget. And then I set a reminder once a week until that to check in with them. And then there's always times I'm checking in with them in between that during the challenge groups, but I will check in with them once a week after they got their challenge pack to check in to see how they went, to see if they're making Shakeology right. So many times I've had people say, well, I'm not really liking Shakeology. I'm like, how are you making it? They're like, well, just ice or just stirring it with a spoon. I'm like, oh my God, there's like really awesome recipes that you can be doing. So talking to people about that stuff, again, it increases your influence with them. It makes you, and then what it can lead to, again, this is something that happens when you start doing this long term and you can start asking for it more, well, not necessarily asking for it, but you can start getting referrals. Again, you increase that influence. And I've had so many people who didn't want to join my challenge group, but when I posted a clean eating or posted about another challenge group, somebody said, hey, I have a friend, like the girl just messaged me yesterday and said, hey, I have a friend that's interested in getting Shakeology. Can I pass off your information? I'm like, yes. And she still refuses to join my challenge group, but she sent me someone. So again, because I'm, helping people, putting other people's interests before myself, and you can do that in so many different ways. It increases your influence and it can just do so many good things for your business. And then that's another thing it can do is help you gain Instagram followers or followers on Facebook or whatever you're putting out your content. And having the Instagram followers it's not about the number, because you can have 10 billion Instagram followers, but if you're not putting out good content, it doesn't matter, because you want to make sure that you're engaging with people. But the more Instagram followers you have, the more people you can, communicate with and talk to. And one last thing about this law, and then I'll go into the next law, is that the more you do this and the more you're that person that puts out that really good energy, puts out that good influence, the more you're going to attract people like that. And we all talk about wanting to attract rock star coaches, right? This is what's going, if you do that stuff, how awesome would it be to give that out and that good energy out into the world, and then you attract coaches that are like that? Like, there's nothing better than that, guys. I can promise you that. So that's another reason you want to be doing it. So fourth law, the law of authenticity. So what the law of authenticity says is that the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. And this is, this is like one of the things we talk about so much in Beachbody. So again, the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. So all of these laws and all of the trainings and Josh Coates' awesome calls and everything that you can go through, none of it matters if you do not come from your core, if you do not come from your authentic self. I love Amy Silverman, but for the longest time I was looking at her page and I was like, I'm not coaching like she is, and I don't have my page look like her. And then I started to try to kind of be like her. And then I was like, you know what? I need to be, we do have a lot of similarities, but I was like, I'm not being my authentic self. And I know a lot of you guys, you do that. And I want you guys to follow me to, get inspiration or to learn from me. But I never want you to follow me or any other coaches in our team or in our downline or in the business if you're going to compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. And if you are always comparing yourself to someone else, it's really hard for you to be successful in this business. I can tell you that. I still struggle with comparison all the time, because now I'm at a point where like I feel like I should be I see coaches that are at the same level as me, and I'm like, well, I'm not, I'm only 3-star. I should be 5-star, like trying to compare myself. So it's important to come from your core and be yourself. We really preach this in Beachbody all the time about sharing your story. This sharing your story goes hand in hand with this law. So when you when you show up day after day after day, people start to feel comfortable with you. Again, you're authentic to you. On my Snapchat, if you guys follow me, I am TMI all the time. Some of the stuff I share, I'm just like a mess. But I have so many times people finally message me and they're just like, I just love how real you are on Snapchat. Again, showing up every single day, being authentic really pays off, guys. I don't care if you're the weirdest person ever. I like sing with like these weird face filters on my Snapchat. It makes no sense, no reason or rhyme to it at all, but I'm just like weird and I don't care. And doing that weird stuff literally has nothing to do with Beachbody. But I'm just like, that's like how I would be with my boyfriend. I get on my boyfriend's nerves. And so, that's just me. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but find what's authentic to you, whatever that may be. And that may take a little bit to find. Finding your brand isn't something that happens overnight. So don't feel like if you're a new coach, if you're like, I don't really know what my brand is. I had no idea what my brand was in the beginning of my business. It took me like a year to find it. And that's why so many people, they join Beachbody and then they quit because they feel like after a few months they should be figuring everything out. But if you want to do this long term, you really got to understand that this business takes time. But my God, it's so worth it, guys. You're going to learn so much about yourself and help so many people. And just like, I'm going off on a tangent here, but like it really is so worth it to stick around to figure out all of this stuff. And the authenticity is just so important. So I kind of already talked about that. So what else? And then also do not confuse being authentic to yourself with complacency. So don't think that means, oh, I want to be authentic, I don't need to change. You don't have to change, but you still need to read personal development to be a better version of your authentic self. So I hope that makes sense. So an example of this is basically kind of what I talked about, is just showing you're a real person, because people are going to connect with that. That's why so many people are like, well, I'm overweight or I'm not at my goal weight, so why would someone want to come to me to be successful? But I can tell you right now, I don't know if you guys know what her name is, but I believe her name is Jamie. On Instagram, it's jamie.sue, I believe. Wait, I want to share her Instagram with you because I've already shared her Instagram. I have a bunch of people I'm working with that are like, some of them are like severely overweight and they're like, I can't do quarter force. There's no way. Like, there's no way I could do quarter force. I'm too overweight. Where is it? Her Instagram is, it's Jamie_Sue. It's JAIMEE_SUE. This is her. She's overweight. I'm not like pointing at her weight for, trying to make fun of her or anything, but her videos of her doing quarter force are kick freaking ass. And sometimes like the way the moves are, like she can't do them just because she's a little bit heavier, but she finds a way to modify it and make it work. So I'm like, anybody gives me an excuse, like she can make it work. But the thing about her is somebody might look at her and be like, she's a Beachbody coach. How would anybody want to join her? But you have to remember that when people are in the position that they are, like somebody who is her size and not a Beachbody coach isn't going to go to this super stick thin. They're probably not going to go to somebody like me. I'm not saying like I'm in perfect shape, but they're not going to go to some super like those people on Instagram that are like straight abs and curled hair and makeup at the gym. Like if you do that, whatever, it's fine. But like they're not going to go to somebody like that because they don't resonate with them. They don't connect with them. But if they see her kicking ass in her workouts, they're going to be intimidated by that other person. But seeing her, they're like, wait, she looks just like me. We have the same kind of lifestyle. Like I can totally connect with her. So that goes whether and it doesn't mean you just have to be overweight to do that. That can be any kind of thing, whatever your niche, whatever your brand is. Again, being authentic, people are going to connect with that. So do not be afraid of being yourself. Please do not. So the last law is the law of receptivity. And this is a law that really took me a while to understand. I actually went on YouTube. I read blogs because I was like, it's really hard. Let me type her name in the thing. She's awesome. It's JAIMEE_SUE. So this law was kind of hard to wrap my head around, but now I kind of understand it. And in the book, they even say that it's kind of hard to like, I don't know, it may seem simple, but as I was reading it, I was like, this is kind of weird. But so the law of receptivity, states that the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. So again, the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. And this kind of is my hippy dippy, all that crazy stuff. But so Bob Burg gives this example of breathing. In the book, Pindar asks Joe, he says, breathe in and now breathe out. And now after you breathe out, hold your breath for 30 seconds. And Joe tries, but obviously he can't do it. And Pindar's like, what, you can't do it? And he's like, no, obviously I have to breathe in. Like you can't breathe out and not breathe in. They go hand in hand. And this is the same thing. In order to give, or in order to give, you have to receive. In order to receive, you have to give. They really go hand in hand, because you have so many people, sometimes they focus too much on giving, but they aren't open to receive. They either don't think that they deserve it, or they aren't like kind of like opening up that energy from themselves. And when you focus on giving and being open to good things happening to you, things will start to come your way. That's why I'm always talking. It's kind of that whole thing about like, you get out what you put in. So if you put out negative energy into the world and you're like, yeah, like I'm here, I'm going to give, whatever. But you're not going to receive the things that you want. But if you're putting out that positive energy and you're like, I want to give to people, but you have to also respect yourself and say, I'm open to receive things as well. It's not like hey, I'm giving, where's my stuff? Like drop it off my front door. Not like that. It's just it's a two-way street, and I'm going to give without expecting, because there's a difference between expecting to receive and being open to it. So know that difference, and know that this whole process is so important, because giving is important, but we also all deserve to receive good. The more good you give out and not expect to receive, just to be open to it, they will come your way. I posted on my social media today, I read in my personal development, I'm reading the book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And I just was like blown away by this little segment that he was talking about. But he basically says, at worst, this is also very common, that the present moment is treated as if it were an enemy. When you hate what you are doing, complain about your surroundings, curse things that are happening or have happened, or when your internal dialogue consists of shoulds and shouldn'ts, or blaming and accusing, then you are arguing with what is. Arguing with that which is already the case. So if you're trying to argue with something that already happened, then you can't change it. So when you do that, you're making life into an enemy. And then life says, war is what you want, war is what you get. So when you're fighting life and you're like, oh my God, my life, believe me, and I can say this because this used to be me, my life is so awful. Everything bad happens to me. Oh my God, I tried to do this good thing and like 7 other bad things happen. Like I should just give up. Like it's just so awful. The universe looks at it as, okay, you got this. You don't need my help. That's what the universe looks at it as. But if you're like, okay, listen, life kind of sucks right now, but it is what it is. I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. Universe, I am totally open to you helping me out. I know this sucks, but like, I'm ready. The universe will give to you. But if you're always it's this negative energy that just basically blocks you from receiving the good stuff in life. So I think that that's really important and kind of goes hand in hand with that. So, lastly, an example of this when it comes to Beachbody, I kind of already talked about it, but if you focus on positivity in your posts, when you're talking to people, when you have coaches that may say things to you that you don't like, or a challenger, or somebody blocks you, or people are going to say negative things to you, which rarely happens. People are always worried. Their fear of like inviting is that someone's going to message them and be like, stop trying to sell me something. Like I've been doing this for 3.5 years, and I can count on one hand how many times something like mean like that has happened to me. And most of the time it's because of the other person, not anything that I did, because I'm just trying to help people. But if you focus on positivity, give tons of value, people are going to be attracted to that. And they might not message you right away. They might not message you after following you for 2 months or 3 months or a year. I've had people message me after 2 or 3 years of following me and like, okay, I'm ready to join you. And it's like, Jesus, where have you been? But it happens. And not everybody, I don't want people to think that everybody takes that long. I've had people that I met the day of and they decided to join. So that's really it, guys. I mean, the whole, focus on being selfless, not selfish, is just kind of the talk of the call. It wasn't necessarily a separate call, but a few things I just wanted to share really quick, and then I'm going to let you guys go, that I got from the beginning of the book. There was obviously a lot of good notes, but something that really stuck out to me was when Joe's first learning about the first rule, the law of value. And if you guys do want to get, I suggest getting the audiobook because you can finish it in like 2 days. One of my coaches finished it in a day. It's the red book. There's like 5 different versions, but it's just the Go Giver, the normal one. There's a Go Giver leader and there's the Go Giver like other thing, but it's just the red book. It's just the Go Giver. But when Joe first learns about the law of value and Pindar's like, you have to give more, in value than you receive in payment. Joe's like, how is that gonna do anything? Isn't that just gonna make people walk all over me? Like if I'm just give, won't people walk all over me? But what Pindar says is he says, you get what you expect. And when he said that, I was like, whoa, I wrote it down and wrote it in my notes and I was like, whoa, that's like kind of profound. It's very simple, but it's profound. It says you get what you expect. So if you go looking for trouble, you're going to find it. If you go looking for the negativity and the bad stuff in people, you're going to find it. If you look for conflict in a relationship, if I know there's all girls on this call, if you're in a relationship with someone and sometimes you're just in that bitchy mood and you're like, I don't want to fight right now, but then your boyfriend says something and it's like, and you just get pissy and you're just kind of looking for a fight. What do you get? You get a fight. You never go looking for a fight or you start an argument even though you know you shouldn't, and it doesn't turn into a fight. So what you get what you expect. So if you go looking for the good in people, that's what you're going to find. You're going to find some amazing things. So if you guys start to try to look at the world in a different light, and it's hard to do that. I'm not saying that this is easy. That's why, again, reading personal development is so important. But if you really focus on looking for the good in people, I always try to do that. It's actually one of, your biggest strength is always your biggest weakness. One of my biggest weaknesses is always trying to find the good in people, and that sometimes, occasionally, has led, it to backfire on me, but rarely. But if you really try to, and this can be applied to any part of your life, not just your business, but if you really do try to find the good and you always expect good, and it's not getting your hopes up type of thing. It's just expecting that good things can happen to you. Don't keep thinking that your life is so bad and that it's just going to continue to get bad, because I used to be that way. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for hopping on with me. I hope that you got something out of this call. I will, when I post the call tomorrow, I know everybody's going to be at Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll wait till Friday. I'll post the PDF with the laws actually written down. And if you haven't read the book, I highly suggest you read it. So see you guys. Have a happy holidays. If you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrate whatever you're celebrating. You're awesome. I will see you guys later.